This recipe works just fine with chicken legs, and if you aren't a fan of blue cheese, don't let that stop you from making it either. If you use a mild blue cheese, the final dish will only have the faintest hint of blue cheese in it. If you love blue cheese, then you can amp it up by using something like Stilton. Trying to deep fry blue cheese is generally a recipe for disaster, so watch how I get around that here. First, the legs are deep fried briefly so they remain moist, and then they're coated with the blue cheese and broiled until they're golden brown. You'll be amazed at just how much flavor these pack.
As always, we begin by accumulating our mise en place. I've got white pepper. I've got these scallions with nice big white bulbs. I'm only going to use the white part basically. I'm just going to use like this much right now. This is about 30 grams. I've got the blue cheese, and I've got 10 milliliters of absinthe. It's a kind called Green Fairy, but you can use any absinthe you like. We'll begin with a saucepan that's got 30 grams of butter in it. I'm going to begin melting. And when the butter begins to melt, we'll add the scallions and start sweating these for a few minutes. The heat's on 6 out of 1 to 10. And as soon as it starts to sizzle like this, I'm turning the heat down to 4. I'm going to let it cook like this for just a few minutes. It's been about 3 minutes so far. It's been about 5 more minutes now, and I'm going to add the 2 teaspoons of flour. And here we have it about 5 more minutes later. Heat's still just above 4. And now I'm going to add this absinthe, or Pernod, anise liqueur at any rate. Keep stirring it. This isn't really a roux because the ratio of flour and butter is way off, plus you got those onions in there. But the flour is going to thicken this up. It's been 3 more minutes. Now I'm going to add the milk, and I'm also going to increase the heat now up to about 7.5 and begin whisking this together. Let it get a little bit warmer, and then we're going to blend that cheese in. It's about a minute later. You can see it's starting to thicken up. You don't want to let it get too hot before you put the cheese in. Now, you just kind of melt this blue cheese into it. And in just a minute here, the cheese is fully incorporated, and it's starting to bubble away. So now I'm going to add the chicken stock. And the ground white pepper. Even though I'm doing this with chicken wings, it would be exactly the same with frog legs. You spread them out, give them a good dusting of salt, a light powdering of flour, move them around a little bit. I don't want to do it until I turn the camera off. Move them around a little bit, try to coat them on all sides, and then just let them sit here for a little while, warm up to room temperature. Meanwhile, over here on the stove, on a heat of 5 now, I've got this coating slowly reducing. It's been about 10 minutes. It's going to take longer, and if you taste it, you'll see it's fairly bitter right now. That's because they haven't added enough salt yet to it, and then also because it hasn't reduced enough. The bitterness will fade as it reduces further. Here's what it looks like after 15 or 16 minutes. Bubbles start stacking up on top of each other. It starts getting real thick. This is enough. You have to have a little bit of sense of it as to how thick it has to be. I'm telling you, simmer it for about 15-16 minutes. That should be just about right. Now, taste it. If it's still bitter, add a little bit more salt. Salt will cancel bitterness. Now we're going to add a couple tablespoons of the green parts of the scallions in. And then this is just going to sit here until the chicken's ready for it, or the frog legs. If you have a small fryer, you'll have to work in batches, of course. I'm doing them in 2 batches. Now that you've got the first stage of the cooking done, you can add this sauce to them. And you have to mix this around and coat them evenly. Okay. When it's coated, when you're satisfied that it's coated evenly, you add, I don't know, a couple handfuls of breadcrumbs to this. And you're going to stir this around, get the breadcrumbs coating the chicken, and also the breadcrumbs will help absorb some more of that sauce and help it stick to the chicken. Or the frog legs, in your case. And spread the pieces out on a silpat. Now we're ready for the final pass under the broiler or the salamander. And it comes out of the broiler, nice golden brown. We're going to let this cool down a little bit and then we'll plate it up.
If you like my videos, look for my cookbook, now available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other internet bookseller sites. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.